Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me today. I'm taking part in the Stamp Around UK video hop today. A load of us British UK demonstrators get together and do a video hop once a month on the first day of the month. And for this month, our theme is in colours. So we have two sets of in colours in the catalogue. We have the new ones that have only just been released, and we have the ones that were released last year. I'm using last year's in colours for my card today, and I'm going to show you a little bit of quilling. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because two of the die sets that are in the catalogue have these dies, and I've seen some people puzzling over what they're for and whatever, and I have used them. I've used them to do what I think they, well, this one, what that was intended to, just to make a little pom-pom flower, little flower with stamens, which is that. Can you see? But then I realised as a quiller that you could do some more exciting things. So I've done that. So I'm going to show you today how I did that. This die is from the Paper Florist die set. And this die, which I don't think was intended to use for this, but this is from the Beautiful Balloons die set. I'm going to show you how I use that one as well. So they've all got lots of little cuts. Normally I do this by hand. So I use a lot of, these are called fringed flowers, and I do a lot of these in my business. And so I will take a piece of paper, fold it, maybe fold it again. So I'm cutting through 4 layers, and I will just sit, and I do this in front of the telly quite a lot. Drives my husband nuts because it's snip, snip, snip. And I just sit and snip like this. But because we've got these dies, you don't need to do that now. You've got the dies to cut it for you, but that's just how I would normally do it. I have to say that the quilling techniques that I use work better on paper than card. And so I bought the textured speciality paper in these colour, in the old in colours to use. So this is much thinner than card. It's not as thin as I'd like it for quilling, but it's much better for quilling than cardstock would be. So let me show you how I made my fringed flowers. So I have cut the bigger die out of this pair. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see all those little lines? I don't know how clearly that's showing up. There's all little lines along there. It's just cut there. It doesn't have any edges on it, so it doesn't cut an edge along there. It just cuts these lines. I'm not sure what Stampin' Up intended that to be for. I know Heather's used it as a closure for one of her boxes. Be interested to see what other people do. And then I've cut 5 or 6 out of Sweet Sorbet. So this is, what is it called? Orchid Oasis, and this is Sweet Sorbet, and I've cut 6 of those because I think what some people haven't realised is that actually you can stick these together and get much fuller flowers. So you could even do a third one, and you could get much fuller, bigger flowers by doing that, and it won't spoil the look of it at all. So you can actually make much longer lengths, which I'm going to do in a little bit. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do before I do the quilling is I'm going to do the card base, and then I'll just put it under some books to flatten it to keep it nice and flat while we're doing the quilling. So here we go. Let's see. So I'm going to use Tahitian Tide as my base, and I'm going to cut this at 15. Yes, it is 15. Trying to work out what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to cut the other side at 21. I need my arm out. There we go, 21. And then I'm going to come back in and score it at 10.5, and that will be my card blank. And then I'm going to take a piece of Sweet Sorbet, and I'm going to cut this down to 10 by 14.5. Oh, line that up, and then cut this down to 14 by 9.5. So I've gone down in ½ centimetre stages. There we are. So before we glue all that together, we need to do a little bit of heat embossing. Let's just get these bits out of the way. A little bit of heat embossing, so I need my embossing buddy. I put it away. I did put it. It's remarkable for me. Put it away. And I'm using some old sentiments from a retired set, just because I don't really have what I wanted in current stock. So, and I tend to keep sets if I like the sentiments. This was Sentimental Swirls, which was actually a set that was designed by my upline, who had her 1 million sales. And so got to design a stamp set, and this is a lovely set. It was only in a catalogue for a very short amount of time. I've got no idea why they removed it so quickly, but anyway, so I'm using the thank you because I just realized the other day I'm running out of thank you cards, and I thought this would be quite sweet to send as a thank you. So let's just put that there, and then we want some silver. Embossing. There, got a thank you in silver. Just a bit concerned, I don't know where my other die has gone. Let's put that in my, lost the little die. Oh, there it is, got it. Just definitely don't want to lose that. Right, and then I'll just bring my heat gun in. It's a while since I've done any heat embossing, actually. So let's just turn this on. It will be a bit noisy, I'm afraid, for a sec. So just wait until the powder turns. You can, of course, use any sentiment you've got in your set. You might want to do it as a birthday card, get well card, whatever you fancy. This design works quite well. Oh, that's why it's not going very quickly. I haven't got the heat gun on full. There we go. So just leave that to cool down for a little bit. Fold this one and bring in my bone folder. And then this one is going to layer, hopefully with a very narrow border, like so. That's fine. Like so. And then the white panel will go on top of this, ready to mount our quilling when we've done it. So these in colours, I really like this set of in colours. I have to admit I'm not so keen on this year's. They're very muddy colours to me. There's a couple of them I quite like, but I haven't quite decided. I don't think they all go together quite so well as this year's colours. And Wild Wheat, I have no idea if I'll ever use that. Definitely not my colour. It's going in the, for me, it's going in the same place as Crushed Curry, which, as some of you will know, is not my favourite colour. Right, I'm just putting that under a big pile of books to keep that flat while we do the quilling. Right, okay. So let's do the smaller flowers first, these ones. So you need 2 lengths of this, which is cut with the smaller die, the die from Paper Florist dies. And right, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Okay, yep. Put a little bit of Tombow on there to use. When I'm quilling, I tend to use a little bit of glue on a dish. I need a cocktail stick, and I use a cocktail stick to apply it, because you need tiny amounts of glue for that's a bit thick. Let's have just a little bit from that one. I think it's quite claggy at the bottom of my bottle, my Tombow, so let's just mix that together. Right, so we're going to put a little bit of glue. I'm going to do it on the back of what would be the back of the die, so not where the front is. So you have a little bit of glue there, and a little bit of glue. Oh no, actually, what did I want to do? Before I do that, what I wanted to show you is this has got quite a deep band there, which means that your flower stands very proud. So what I did with mine was I cut, don't cut into the fringed bit, because otherwise it will all fall apart, obviously, but I just trimmed off some of that edge so that it will sit much closer to the page and won't stand so proud. So I just cut that off. Again, if I was fringing with my scissors, I would go much closer to the edge than these dies have cut. So, like so. And then we can stick. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on here, and then glue. So gluing these together, so we're going to use 2 lengths to make these flowers. They tidy it up quite a lot if you use more lengths. See how this one is sort of a bit untidy? If I'd used 2 lengths there, that would have been a lot tidier. So this one, I think this is what you get if you use 1 length. And you can see that by using 2 lengths, I did do a bigger centre as well. 2 lengths, you get a much bigger flower. And then this one. And then to go in the centre, we need a very fine strip. I buy quilling papers, 3mm wide quilling papers. But as I'm trying to use all Stampin' Up stock, I'm going to cut the centre from a piece of Tahitian tide. And so your trimmer will do this perfectly. This is one of the great things about the trimmer. So you need to go into your trimmer and line it up at 3mm. So with there, and you can hold it in place and and that will cut perfectly. I'm going to do one more. And that is all you need. I'm going to cut both of these down to about there. Like so. And then I'm going to attach this one. Now when you're doing this at home, allow plenty of time for your glue to dry before you try and roll these up, because it just needs to dry and be stable. So I'm going to leave them for a minute while I do something else now. Oops. There we go. Leave that and do this one again. I'm working on the back of the die cut. And this. And then so I'm going to leave that for me to roll up in a minute. And then for this one, for the big one, I'm going to take this die, I'm going to trim it off at the end here. When I cut it, let me just show you, I buttered it up against the edge of the paper like that before I put it in the die machine. So you get quite a thin edge there with this one. And then I need to trim that off with a very thin edge again here. So just move that in a little bit, like so. You see? Now what I'm going to do, controversial, is I'm going to cut this in half. So down the middle of this die, like so. And then you've got 2 quilled strips, slightly wider than the other ones that you've done. So that's what makes our bigger flower. And then I'm going to take one of these centerpieces. Again, I'm going to trim off the excess piece here. And then I'm going to glue that to here. And working on the back again. Glue that to there. Just one this time. I'm not going to use 2. I'm just going to use 1. And then I just need a piece of Tahitian tide again to go into there. Now I'm going to use something that's not available from Stampin' Up, I'm afraid, but it is available from craft shops. I'm going to use a quilling tool, which is this little tool here. I have had these absolutely years. I love them. I don't know if you can see, if I put something white behind there, maybe you can see that that's got a tiny, tiny little slot in it where I can slot paper and then roll things up. So I'm going to take one of the ones that I glued before. I'm going to put the end in there. I might just try and zoom my camera in a little bit. Right, let's try that. Just zoom that in a little bit so that you can see a bit more clearly. Right, just wind it round, trying to keep it level. And then get to this fringed bit, and again try and keep the bottom level. So you can see I'm using both my forefinger and my thumb to keep it level, keeping the tension quite tight, and then slip it off the tool and add some glue. Again, not too much glue, you don't want the glue splurging everywhere. And then just roll that round, and you may have to hold it. Again, this paper, if you're doing it with normal quilling paper, it's not such an issue, but this paper is got sort of quite thick and got a mind of its own. So you might just have to sit and hold that for a couple of minutes. Hoping that's not going to come undone. I'll show you again with this one. So slot the end of the paper into the quilling tool. You can do this by hand. I've never mastered it without a tool. I always use a tool for quilling. Wind up the thinner strip, keeping it even, and then when you get to the fringed bit, just keep rolling, forefinger and between your forefinger and thumb, and that will keep it nice and level, like so. And again, the smaller amount of glue you use, the quicker it will dry, so just use a little bit of glue, and that's it. Right, let's see if this one is ready to be manipulated. Oh, that one's coming undone. Like I say, you might just have to sit and hold these for a little while. Right, just take this and fold out the petals. And then what I tend to do is use the end of my tool just to flatten that all down and to get a really nice. So different colourway, same flowers. Now, the reason this middle doesn't look quite the same colour as Tahitian tide is because this is white core paper. It's not dyed all the way through. So what you're getting when you roll it, you're getting a little bit of the colour, but actually you're getting the white core quite a lot. So the colours look much paler. So you can see my sweet sorbet centres here look very pinky and not such bright red as sweet sorbet. So if I'm doing normal quilling, I would normally use paper that's dyed all the way through. Right, let's fold this one out, and again, there we are. There, my two sort of sweet sorbet and Tahitian tide flowers. Now the big one for the middle, exactly the same technique. Start rolling from the thin end, just put that in there. Keep it nice and flat. I do this so much that I do it in my sleep. I'm hoping that this is in camera. Yes. There we go. Doing that. And a bit of glue, and might just need to hold this one as well for a couple of minutes. And then the only other thing we need to do are the leaves. And I will show you how I did the leaves as well. Again, they're a bit paler than the parakeet party looks because you're seeing them side on, so you're seeing the white as well as the colour. And again, and you might like that effect, but it's not ideal for quilling really. I would really like them to be solid colours. So just squishing this one, just holding it. And then we're just going to take our trimmer. I'm going to widen up my camera, otherwise you won't see. Oh, too much. There we go. And take a piece of parakeet party. And again, we're going to cut some 3mm strips. So up to there. So like I say, you can buy quilling paper in packs of 3mm strips, or I think they're 1/8 strips in America, if you're watching this on the other side of the pond. Right, that's enough of parakeet party. So like, it was just fortuitous that Stampin' Up brought out this paper at the same time as they brought these dies out, because I wouldn't have attempted this with card. I don't think they would have been nice. Right, this is my bigger flower. So just bend out the bigger flower, the bigger petals, and then bend out the center petals. Like so. There we go. And there's our flowers. So we can mount them onto our card. Like so. So where's my glue? So to mount them, just, you've got a flat bottom here now because you pressed it out, so you can put some glue all over the bottom of the flower. And glue. And again. You see the different effects you get by doing different combinations of strips. There are hundreds of different combinations for fringe flowers that you could do, but I'm just showing you a couple here today. Right, there's our flowers, and then we're just going to take our parakeet party, and I'm going to cut them in half. So my strips measures, it's going to be in centimetres, I'm afraid, because I've got my nearly 6 inches. So 6 inches-ish. And just, again, put it in your tool. Oh, curl it round. This time you're not going to hold it. You're going to let it go. That's called a closed coil loop, or at least it will be closed when I glue it. But it's a loose coil, not a tight coil. The other tight coils that we did for this fringe flowers are called closed coils. There we go. There. And one more. There we go. And then I know a lot of people have said to me, oh, I'd love to try quilling. Well, maybe this is your jumping off point. This is something you could try. And people say to me, but where do you get all your coloured paper from? Because I do cut some of my own strips. And the best source of paper I find is you get birthday cards in nice coloured envelopes. And I just tend to keep the envelopes. But of course, you can buy packs of coloured paper from probably Ryman's or somewhere like that. They used to have a lovely rainbow pack in Paper Chase, but of course, Paper Chase is no longer. You see what I'm doing? So I'm gluing. I need to talk you through this. So there's the end. So I'm holding the loop, a little bit of glue on the end, glue it closed, and then I'm folding it so that that end is going to be at a point. So squeezing both ends of the coil and then giving it a twist, and you won't see that join then because that's right at the end. And so we just need to glue these on, and again you're just going to glue on the flat side like that, and like that, and 2 more just to decorate. There are other techniques to make leaves as well, but I might do them in another video. I'm sort of quite enjoying the window into quilling that this has given me to bring to you. There we go. And there we are. There are our 2 thank you cards with a little bit of quilling on them, a little bit of fringe flower quilling. So I hope you've enjoyed watching them today. Do keep hopping around all the other links. There's some fantastic projects for you to see, more traditional, probably more stamping and die cutting than I've used today, but I hope you've enjoyed watching something a little bit different today. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back really soon. Bye for now.